Welcome back, boys and girls, to another episode of Kayfabe Comparisons. My name is Mr. Knowitall, Daniel John Schafer, and today I am joined once again by the king of the Kayfabe kick flips, Mr. Wex, breaking the Lawson. Wex, how are we living today?
Oh, we're living great. Actually, I was pretty pissed off when I came home because my dog got in the trash, got fucking sauce all over the floor, like some ranch buffalo sauce. I was really pissed off, but then I realized we're going to be covering two very great, very entertaining
very entertaining
tonight.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty excited about it. It's going to be a good time. I got me a fresh beer ready to go, and I'm ready to talk some WCW and some NXT, baby.
Some wrestling indeed. Today's show we are covering WCW World War III from 1996, which is almost like I think we kind of staggered it in really well because they're all kind of going in order. It's almost like we're watching WCW 96 together as like a podcast community. And it's been pretty fun. I'm really excited to talk about that one. And it's going up against my favorite year in NXT, which was 2016. NXT Takeover Toronto. So I am very, very hype about today's show. Did you get any good feedback from last week's show, the Survivor Series 01 versus Genesis 06?
Actually, not going to lie, I did not receive any feedback on the actual show itself, but I did get more engagement, just about other things in general and some of the current events and new stuff that we talked about. But that reels them into that show. When you listen to that show, you get to hear my beautiful voice, and Daniel's also beautiful voice discuss this great wrestling product.
It's true. I really enjoyed the show. If you missed it last week, go check it out. It was WWF Survivor Series 2001 versus TNA Genesis 06. It was a really good show. Really lots of weirdness and lots of good Attitude Era stuff, which is kind of rare, sadly. But yeah, man, let's get into today's episode. Before we get into the comparison, though, let's talk about the news, the current events, what's happening in the biz today. Wex, what are our headlines, man?
All right, so the first headline that I got written down in my little bullet points is Xavier Woods is having some financial disputes with WWE over Up, Up, Down, Down. He's kind of holding out right now, and all the creators and then even like the media people within WWE are like on his side. They're kind of holding out because he kind of is getting screwed.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that was his thing. It's always been his thing. I don't see how they could possibly even take ownership of it. It doesn't make sense to me.
It's because basically Vince McMahon is saying that and his G4 is part of his downside guarantee, which is straight fucking bullshit.
Yeah, that's definitely not the case at all.
Just like they tried to absorb the cameos and the Twitches and all that stuff. They just want all the fucking money for themselves. They just fired 14 people and they have some of their highest earnings of all time. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's insane.
That's pretty lame. But Raw this week got its third lowest rating ever.
Yeah.
Like in the history of the show. And that's not good news for WWE. It's not like AEW's doing like way better in ratings, but they're a new product.
Yeah. Agreed.
They're still growing. And here's a good thing that we can get into because it's going to be kind of changing the format of our show a little bit. NXT announced they're going to be doing a War Games, but it's not called Takeover. It's just NXT War Games.
Yes.
And we're actually going to be putting that. Yeah.
Yeah. At least it's on a pay-per-view though, or like on a streaming service. It's not just like a TV special. You know what I mean? Like it's an actual quote unquote pay-per-view or whatever, Yeah.
And well, since that is actually a real show, we're going to be actually comparing that to the all-time classic here in about 2 weeks, I guess.
2 or 3 weeks, yeah.
2 or 3 weeks, Vengeance 2001 WWF. If you guys know, that is like, woo, an all-time banger. So we'll see if the current product can, dominate the nostalgia product, which is going to be a pretty tough task if you've seen Vengeance 2001.
It is a tall challenge for sure. Any other news and headlines there, bud?
Couple things. Best Friends are now in Chaos. We got some Okada teases maybe for Dynamite. And Dynamite has actually said they're going to update. Well, Dynamite didn't say. Tony Khan said that Dynamite's going to update its look and feel when they transfer to TBS.
Okay.
Maybe a little facelift, something a little bit new. But he also said if the fans say it sucks, they'll go back to the old shit.
Yeah.
Which is smart. No other really big things in the news as of right now before we started recording this. Only other things Keith Lee did not come up with Bearcat. He said that he did not want to use that.
Yeah.
That was in the news. That's obvious, but that's probably some Bruce Pritchard type shit because someone mentioned on his podcast he was actually mentioning Bearcat like a few years ago, like multiple times. So makes sense. Old Brucey boy.
Oh, Brucey. Anything else in the headline world?
I don't know, Full Gear coming up this Saturday. That's the only other thing. And man, it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, we are definitely going to get into the Full Gear card towards the end of the show. But without further ado, let's jump into our regularly scheduled program. It's WCW War Games, or not War Games. It's WCW World at War.
World War III.
Yeah, World War III. Why? I don't know. I had Call of Duty on my brain.
World War III.
WCW World War
Games
III
on the brain. We got armies and wars and that type
of
bullshit.
It's a lot.
Army
Call of
type
Duty Vanguard just came out, and I've been playing that. And I don't know what's going on. It was 1996, World War III. I thought the opening package was actually very awesome in 90s, like better than their production normally was. Did you notice anything about that production package on the open?
I think they were like starting to hit their stride a little bit at this point because even WCW 96, even though they were like overtaking WWF, it was still that weird 90s, 80s transition thing where it's still very early 90s. We haven't quite reached like that late 90s vibe yet.
Right.
The production's still kind of in the middle, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good, pretty solid. Nice opening. I love that voice. I love the fucking narrator on that.
Yeah, the narrator. Yeah, I agree. I thought it was really well put together. And speaking of great and solid, the opening match here is Rey Mysterio Jr. versus the Ultimo Dragon. I mean, I think this is kind of the era when guys really started using like chain wrestling and like fast-paced spots and that end in a square off. I feel like this was like one of the first times that, they would go through a sequence, bop, 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 and then they do the standoff and the crowd breathes a little bit and then they go back into another one. I feel like this was kind of the beginning of that. Like they were innovators of this. And I thought it was great, man. Ultimo was definitely in his prime at this point. Mysterio just sold like a madman the whole time. Like, I mean, he was just so small at that point too that you legit thought he was going to be hurt every time he took like a big bump. The match was great, man. I mean, really, Dragon just pulling off some incredible moves for the majority of the match, and Rey kind of getting a big comeback towards the end. And the commentary was actually phenomenal. I thought, a lot of people can poo-poo on Tony, but I think he was really on his game for this match specifically. Dragon got the win and walks out with his 72 titles. I enjoyed it. I gave it 4.5 beers. Where are you at on it?
Hey, I'm pretty close to you there. I went 4 beers, and the only reason I didn't go higher is because literally Ultimo Dragon hit every single finisher you can think of, like from every wrestler in this match, and it still didn't put Rey Mysterio out. I mean, it was very fun to watch, but literally it was a fucking finisher fest. He had a tombstone pile driver. He hit like somewhat like just some that's the main one I can think of. But he like a running Liger bomb. Like he hit so many crazy finishers, and then like Rey Mysterio just barely get that shoulder up right at like 2.75. But dude, like they fucking killed it. Just like you said, they were the innovators. Like the whole cruiserweight division at this point is a reflection of modern wrestling. And actually, really, everyone's kind of around that size that nowadays. Like, 6'1", 6'2". Like when someone's 6'5", you're like, dude, that guy's fucking tall. But back then, it was nothing.
Yeah. I agree.
But yeah, it was very good. This was basically me whooping my younger brother's ass on No Mercy, just hitting finisher after finisher after finisher. But he still somehow doesn't lose, and it just takes a really long time.
Yep.
I mean, if Rey would have got a little bit more offense and it wouldn't have been so many egregious finishers, I probably would have rated a little bit higher. But yeah, 3.5 beers. He actually, funny, they said the Ultimate Dragon on the nameplate, but then Tony kept calling him Ultimo and Ultimate. He just kept going back and forth with it.
Yeah, it was funny. I mean, I also felt like the little post-match thing here where they like plugged the website was hilarious to me. It's always funny to see like the infant stage of like the internet. And then Mean Gene in the back with a promo and DDP, and it just wasn't good. I mean, DDP is still trying to figure out his gimmick at that point, but,
Is that when it showed the shirtless Buff Bagwell just sitting next to the guy at the computer?
No, I think that was later on.
Okay, because that popped me super hard.
Yeah, that was a good, yes. Yeah, me too as well. It was very funny. Then the next match here is Nick Patrick versus Chris Jericho with Teddy Long, by the way. That popped me because Teddy contributed literally less than 0 to this match. Like there was why even have, I don't understand. Like no reason to have him out there. Dude, I think that Nick Patrick is the best referee wrestler of all time. Like the few times that he has to have matches, like his matches are pretty good. Like this. Well,
do you know why? He actually comes from a whole wrestling family and like grew up in the business. So he at least has somewhat of a better understanding of what he's doing than most refs. Even though most refs go through the training, he obviously he gets it.
Yeah. And the thing is, too, is like the dude legitimately had the height. Like he was tall enough to be a wrestler. Like he could have, I mean, if he'd have just taken better care of his body, he could have just been a worker. Like, but anyway, it was good. I mean, he bumped like crazy. Jericho only had one arm, so Patrick really is doing a lot here. Like, I mean, and it was actually pretty good. I mean, Jericho got the win with a super kick. I thought it was actually really well done for like, I mean, anytime you see like a hand behind the back match, 9 times out of 10, it's trash. Yeah. And this match was pretty good. I gave it 3 3/4 beers. That's how much I liked it. I was a big fan of it. Wex, where you got on it?
I didn't quite go that high. I don't think it maybe quite deserved that many beers.
I loved it.
But it was still fucking definitely entertaining. And seeing Teddy Long definitely popped me too. That's one of my notes, dude. Teddy Long, he like kind of got involved, but like he just kind of yelled, but didn't. Ooh, excuse me there. Nice little burpee. Didn't know that was coming, but yeah. Teddy Long just was there, like you said, but it was just cool seeing him. And this is when he was still a little chunky, had a little extra weight on him, and it just only thing he was missing was the do-rag. I really miss the do-rag Teddy Long. But yeah, dude, straight up Nick Patrick looks like Kenny Powers in this matchup. Like it looks like Kenny Powers with totally a fucking striped fucking tank top. And the finish was cool. I love the super kick. Like for what this was, just like you said, going into a match like this, I thought this was gonna be just straight bullshit. Like I thought I was going to immediately dud it on my paper, but I actually gave it 3 beers. I was thoroughly entertained by this matchup for what it was. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
They executed it very well.
Really well. Yeah. I mean, dude, Nick Patrick, like honestly, like I wouldn't say it's match of the night or definitely not best match on either one of these shows, but like a surprisingly good match, like worth watching.
I never thought it would be a middle of the road match.
Yeah. It's pretty solid. I mean, yeah. It's pretty good. Go check out Nick Patrick versus Chris Jericho from World War III, 1996.
Like it's like World War III 2.
Yeah.
Because the first one was 95.
Yeah. So then we had Bobby and Tony and Dusty kind of running down the card, and I hype up Piper and Hogan, which is I don't know. We'll get to that.
Ooh, and then Dusty's jacket. You can't not forget to mention Dusty's jacket.
Dusty's jacket was top notch with the frills, bro. Top notch. They had that Dusty drip going on, baby.
Like it was like red leather,
silky
like
smooth.
Snake skin. It was.
Yeah, it was good stuff. It was good stuff for sure. Then that's when we got the other plug for the WCW chat rooms with Buff Bagwell and his shirtless.
He was just shirtless and jeans, just sitting next to a guy like at a computer, just like looking confused as fuck. Yeah, it just reminds me just any of this old internet shit is hilarious. And I can't thinking back on it now. I know we touched on this last week, but I could never think in my wildest dreams logging onto a website to listen to the audio of a pay-per-view, but people fucking did it.
No, I totally agree, man. And then we actually get Mean Gene at the top of the stage, and he calls out Ric Flair. And then Ric Flair delivers an amazing promo, as always. Dude is the absolute GOAT of the stick, man. Like, no one is better. I mean, not Austin, not Rock, not Hogan. Flair is the best promo of all time. Like, he's just insanely good, plus his longevity. Anyway, it hyped up the match, kind of. But the match here is the Giant versus Jeff Jarrett. And it's just so bad. I don't know. It's not good. The version of Jeff Jarrett kind of being a babyface, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't really process in my head. I mean, the whole highlight with Sting is like the whole purpose of the match, I feel like, too. I gave it 1.5 beers just for Sting and the way they, shot him in the rafters. But the rest of the match was absolute garbage. What did you think about this one, man?
I mean, yeah, you pretty much said it all. The only thing that popped me in this entire match besides Sting coming down from the rafters is Jimmy Hart had a sick-ass fucking jacket on.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't think that's this one.
Oh, shit, wrong thing. What note did I write here? God damn it. Oh, no, here we go. Wrong match. The note that I referenced here. The only thing that really popped me on this match is on commentary, they referenced the great movie coming out in theaters this week, and if you haven't seen it, Jingle All the Way, featuring Arnold Schwarzenegger, and you know who's in there? The Giant. And I was like, dude, Jingle All the Way, one of the best Christmas movies of all time. I got to at least give that a beer. At least give it a beer. Yeah. And I forgot that, that the Giant, a.k.a. Paul White, a.k.a. Big Show, was in that movie. But yeah, besides that, match was just like a shit show, just a little sham to get Sting out there and further the storyline. And Jeff Jarrett was still wearing that ridiculous fucking gear. Yeah, I was so glad when he gave that up because that was
Chippendales gear.
That
Oh,
was
it's solid
like,
heat.
you can't be a
Red
baby
hot
face
heat, baby.
in that gear. You just can't. But yeah, 1 beer for Jingle All the Way.
1 beer for Jingle All the Way. I don't really give much of a beer for anything that happened next here. Piper comes out with the contract, calls out Hogan. Of course, there's a plaid table because that makes sense. And then commentary just buries Bischoff, which was funny. I did pop at most of that. I mean, the whole promo thing is clearly not scripted, and it got really scattered and took way too long for them to get on point. Like, oh
Hulk
God,
Hogan is the worst at that shit. He always
Honestly,
has been. He needs a script.
I felt like a lot of this was Piper too. Like
both of
Piper
them. Both of them.
Yeah.
They come from that 80s WWF where you can cut the promos, not live.
Yeah, it's long and bad, and like way too long and bad. So let's just move on. The next match here is the Amazing French Canadians with Colonel Robert Parker versus Harlem Heat with Sister Sherry. What do you think about this one, man?
The match afterwards, is that part of this match?
Yes.
Okay, so if we're gonna include that, I thought it was pretty fun.
Yeah.
The tag match itself was kind of just like whatever, like, your classic 80s style WWF tag match, just big power moves, nothing really special, just slow and clunky. But the end of it, when Sister Sherry takes on Colonel Parker, who was managing the French Canadians at the time, PCO and Jacques Roju. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying it right or wrong. I really don't care at this point, but one thing you do need to care about.
He can catch a ball.
Dude, Dusty Rhodes on fucking commentary when Sherry is fighting Colonel Parker. Dude, it's some of the funniest shit you'll ever hear in your life. And I was almost to tears laughing. And then when it cuts back to them after the match, like they can't get beside themselves. Like Dusty's fucking, his face is red. They're all laughing. Like, if you want some entertainment, like, just go watch this. Like, it's not a barn burner. It's not a match classic, but
Dusty was absolutely losing his mind on commentary.
It's fucking hilarious. Just for that, I gave this, like, since it's together as one, I gave it 3 beers because the match itself
I gave it 2.5.
Got a beer, but I gave 2 beers for the segment, post-match segment thing. So, dude, fucking really funny. This pay-per-view is entertaining, so I think you should at least go watch the ending of this match because Dusty Rhodes
go watch Sherry versus Colonel Robert Parker.
Yeah,
it's worth it. It's very entertaining.
100%. Go watch it.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, I gave it 2.5. But yeah, we were about half a beer apart on that one. Let's just keep it rolling here. It was a really weird Starrcade commercial with like an actor and like, I don't know, it just felt like a Toys R Us commercial. It just felt like a 90s commercial that wasn't a wrestling promo. It felt really strange.
And when I saw that, it was kind of weird because when I was getting ready to try to get some graphics to make up something for the show, I was typed in the show on Google, and then that picture came up, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? What does this have to do with the pay-per-view that we just watched? But yeah, very weird. Why didn't they get one of their wrestlers to do it?
I don't know, but I know that we are doing Starrcade 96. We're going to throw that out there. It's going to be on towards the end of the year. I'm pretty pumped about that as well. Keep this whole WCW storyline going. I'm having a great time doing this, by the way.
Yeah, I'm loving these shows. WCW is fucking great in 96.
On top of it. And let's just keep rolling into it. After the weird Starrcade commercial, we got Mean Gene plugging the hotline. Of course, got to try to hustle that money, baby. And then Luger with the Sunbeam white bread, the whitest bread promo, like just bland, so bland, nothing really to add to the show. Even Mean Gene is like trying to like, well, aren't you going to do this? And didn't he?
Luger's never been a good promo. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen. Honestly, I've never seen a good Luger match or promo. But
Mean Gene is just like trying to lead him so hard through it. It's like poor Mean Gene. But then the match here is Dean Malenko versus Psychosis for the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. I thought the match kind of started off slow, like really slow. I think Psychosis is way too big to be a cruiserweight too. Malenko had trouble kind of wrapping him up in a lot of the open, and it was just kind of awkward looking submissions. I was actually kind of let down by this match. I mean, I really wanted more from it. It did pick up towards the end, but Bobby and Dusty on commentary were the highlight of the match, bar none. I was pretty disappointed in this one, though, man. I only gave it 2.25 beers.
Damn, really?
I really didn't like it. I didn't like it. It felt like I like Psychosis. I love Dean Malenko, but it really felt like they did not have good chemistry. They're just, Psychosis is tall and lanky. Dean Malenko's like a short kind of bulldog guy. It just didn't work. And Dean Malenko was the heel, but he's this much smaller guy. It just felt really weird. I don't know. It just felt really weird to me.
I enjoyed this match. I know it was a little bit different than like the first cruiserweight match we saw earlier, but I like the contrast of their styles, like more of the high flyer versus like the mat technician.
Right.
And really crazy, I don't know, like it really gave me vibes of watching Dynamite last night, of watching Dante Martin versus Lee Moriarty.
Yeah. What a great match.
Because dude, like that's like the modern versions of both of these dudes, kind of like more of the high flyer, more of like the mat based, like submission, can do all the shit. And I thought it was very technically sound match. Like, and actually Psychosis saved his botch. I think he we're supposed to jump off the rope and he slipped, but he knew he was slipping. So he just like kind of fell into the barricade, and I thought it worked. I was like, that was good. He saved it. And dude, like you said, Dusty and Brain on commentary, Dusty said he was getting his ham hock stretched. He said, he's stretching everything. He's getting his width. He's stretching his ham hock. And they're like, where is the ham hock at? And I still, till now, this has been about 2 days since I've watched this, and I still don't know where the ham hock is. It's somewhere maybe in the hamstring, I'm thinking, but man.
Maybe it's where like the hamstring connects with like the gooch, I think that might be where the ham hock is.
And we saw yet another tombstone pile driver in this match, the second one of the night, and the ending sequence of this match was really sick. Like the roll-up finishing, like they both battled back on some tombstone pile drivers, and Dean Malenko did this crazy fucking roll-up. I don't know what it was called. I know there's somebody that knows the name of it if you've watched this before, but he like went under him and flipped up and then like bridged over to the back. It was fucking sick. I really enjoyed the match. I gave it 3.75 because there was a few things in there like I really enjoyed it. I know you did not enjoy the contrast of the styles, but I thought it worked out good. I know it started off a little slow, but it picked up well, and I had a great time. I like that roll up at the end, that crazy thing Dean Malenko did. I don't know what it's called, but if anybody wants to let us know in some comments or get us on Twitter, what is the fucking crazy roll up that Dean Malenko did?
Hit us up with your encyclopedia knowledge.
Give me that Excalibur.
Yeah, I'd be excited about that. Let's keep it rolling here. The next match on the card is the Outsiders versus the Nasty Boys versus the Faces of Fear for the WCW Tag Team Championships. They did you notice that they put the Faces of Fear, like the Faces of Fear graphic up when the Outsiders were coming out?
Yes, like, I did notice that little botch there.
That's just so WCW. Dude, okay, listen. In 1996, Scott Hall is easily the workhorse of this match. Like, I mean, that dude took a ton of bumps, and I still swear that dude has the best punch in the history of the wrestling business. I think I actually enjoyed this more than I should have. The crowd was really, really into it. The Outsiders kind of carried both teams a pretty damn solid. Jimmy Hart with the skull shoulder pads popped me. That's what you were talking about?
Yeah, and it had the fucking Misfits Crimson Skull on the back of it, too. Crimson Ghost, Crimson Skull, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, he had the Misfits thing going. That really popped me.
Yeah, I think you could just kind of tell that these six guys are enjoying working with each other, and they're just kind of calling it in the ring. And so, I mean, maybe that had a lot to do with like how I didn't rate it crazy high. I just rated it right in the middle. I rated it 3 beers, but the bell to bell wasn't very good, but I just thoroughly enjoyed it because it looked like, I don't know, it just reminded me of the good stuff. But yeah, I enjoyed it. 3 beers, man. Where are you at on this one?
I did not go quite as high as you, but dude, that Misfits jacket definitely popped me real hard. And dude, I don't know what it is, but the Nasty Boys have always been one of those teams I just can't fucking stand. Like, they kind of have that go away heat with me, the Nasty Boys. I've just never liked them. Just their whole gimmick sucks. Their gear sucks. Like, everything about them sucks. But besides that, this match, I mean, it wasn't that bad. You got to see Mang just go wild. Like, there was a lot of clubbing. If you have Dusty on commentary, like, he's clubbing. He's clubbing. And literally Mang and Barbarian were just, that's what they were doing. They were giving like these, like they weren't punches, they were like clubs. And they were clubs. I mean, they were fucking everybody up with those, like real hard and stiff. You could hear them. They were loud. It was great. I love that shit. Mang's mullet flying in the wind, hitting them clubs. You can't get any better than that. And it's just a lot of clubbing. And besides that, I mean, it was such a clusterfuck. No one in commentary knew who was legal for most of the time. And the end of it really kind of pissed me off where they were like, oh, well, Hall can just pin Nash and they can, like, because WCW had stupid fucking rules. They were starting to TNA themselves right there with the dumb rules. And I like how they broke it up and they didn't let him get it, but that's a little bit of foreshadowing to the finger poke of doom.
True. Yeah.
A little bit of foreshadowing, which kind of, if you know, then you're pissed off when you see it. But if you know the future, you're like, oh, I guess that's a cool little nugget, little seed planted there. But I just gave it 2 beers. I couldn't quite push it to the third one for me. It was entertaining, but the work was kind of trash.
Yeah.
Stiff, but trash.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I still stand by, like, anything that Scott Hall was involved in that match looked really good, and it was very good. But yeah, then we get a recap of the Hogan and Piper angle because they really need to spend more time on that. That makes sense. And then we get a 60-man battle royal. I mean, what is there to say, dude? It's a massive ass battle royal. And I mean, it starts with all 60 guys in the ring. So like, there's no surprise entrance. It's just a bunch of bodies. And it's so many guys that it's kind of impossible to keep track of. I mean, it might be fun live, but on TV, it totally sucked. The 3-screen thing kind of helped. It helped a little bit, but also there's like
not when you're watching it on your phone, it doesn't help.
Yeah, and there's like 20 dudes on commentary too, because it's like each ring had a commentary team.
Yeah, Lee Marshall got fucking knocked out halfway through.
It was a cluster, dude. It was such a cluster. I mean, Giant wins with all of the NWO help too, and then they run credits. Like, I don't know. It just seems so bad. It's poorly booked, and I gave it a dud, a fat goose egg.
I did not quite give it a dud. I gave it 1 beer just for the sheer absurdity and sanity of this match. There were some people in this match they literally did not even acknowledge. There was somebody in this match named Tony Rumble. I said, Tony Rumble. Tony Rumble's been eliminated. And I'm like, who the fuck is Tony Rumble? I looked him up. He's like some obscure like indie wrestler from like Boston that like had a cup of coffee.
60 guys is a lot of guys. I'm sure there's just some local guys in there.
So, and like, dude, the 3 tiny screens suck because I watched this match on my phone.
Oh, no.
And imagine trying to watch these 3 little tiny screens on your fucking phone. Yeah, it was just a clusterfuck. And then there was just so many random people in the match that popped me. Jimmy Graffiti. You know who that is?
I don't.
It's Jimmy Del Rey of the Heavenly Bodies.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
But he had, I guess he worked that gimmick in ECW, but just fucking ridiculous. The Yeti, Ron Studd, but not as the Yeti. He was in there. There was just so many random fucking people. And the commentary, like you said, it was
Yeti.
Yeah, the Yeti. And at the end, like, and one thing that pissed me off, they did this dog pile pin on like somebody. Like they kept all piling on top of them. And then like, it's a fucking battle. Like, what are y'all doing? It's get on with it. And then the Horsemen and the Dungeon of Doom got eliminated without actually doing anything.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, oh, well, they're out of the match. And I'm like, what? They never, okay. And Bobby Heenan said, this was the greatest match I've ever seen. This is the greatest pay-per-view of all time. Bobby, the Brain, Heenan, we loved you. You're the best. But you lied. You lied right to our face. You lied to everybody.
Old-faced lied.
Old-faced fucking lie right there. Because, yeah, just a beer because of how ridiculous it was. Like, random luchadors they didn't even acknowledge were there. Just, if it's funny. I mean, it's entertaining. It's not a good pro wrestling match, but
no, it's
a sight to behold. Man. It is a sight to behold.
It's a dud to me for sure. Yeah, I mean, overall though, I'd say it wasn't a bad show. I'd put it like maybe thumbs in the middle or thumbs slightly up. I'd say, I don't know, like overall maybe 3 3.25 beers, maybe right there average, maybe slightly above, but not too much more than that. That's where I'm rating the overall show.
Yeah, I'd say it's somewhere in the middle. Like the work overall, it's not going to be the best work you've ever seen, but it's fucking entertaining. If you watch this show, you'll have a good time. If you love, I mean, it's crazy. Like some of these WCW, like if you love the cruiserweight style of wrestling, if you love modern pro wrestling, you'll at least enjoy some of those matches and just seeing like, it's just the insanity, the absurdity of WCW in 96. I mean, it was entertaining, and that's why it won for 83 weeks.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah, man, let's get to the next show here. We're comparing World War III 1996 to NXT TakeOver Toronto from 2016. Man, I was, like I said, 2016 is probably my favorite year for NXT. I think they were just absolutely on fire. I think that the workers that they had were, I mean, the depth of talent was just insane. And yeah, I think it's probably the best NXT roster of all time. The opening package was awesome. And I was super hyped for it. The opening match is Bobby Roode versus Ty Dillinger. Man, this is only 5 years ago, but both these guys are so over, and they deserve better now than what either one of them are doing. I mean, they were so over. It was insane. It was a brawl from the jump. Great tempo, great work rate, classic heel, great babyface work. Some really awesome false finishes. The crowd was in the palm of their hand. Super into every single count. God, dude, I miss this NXT so much. It was an awesome closing sequence too. Awesome finish. I can't find anything at all wrong with this match, and I think this is the first time I've ever done this for an opener. But I gave it 6 beers. I absolutely loved this match. I gave it 6 beers.
Damn, 6 beers? I mean, I thought it was a pretty solid match, but it definitely wasn't a 6-packer for sure. It wasn't a 6-pack.
I loved it. Loved it.
It was really good. And just like you said, watching this just kind of pisses me off because this was early in Bobby Roode's run, and he was a goddamn star. The music,
no doubt.
The robe, like everything. And then what did they do when they brought him to the main roster? Just took everything that works away, just like they do with everybody else. Because Bobby Roode,
they put him in a tag team with Dolph Ziggler and other guys that should have been a superstar.
Like, this version of the glorious Bobby Roode is peak best version of Bobby Roode. Better than TNA heavyweight champion Bobby Roode. Better than what he's doing now, tag team champion with Dolph Ziggler. Like, WWE dropped the ball. If he's one of those dudes, he's world champion material. He's already proved it in one company.
100%.
WWE's fucking blown it. They need to give him his gimmick back. Give him his gimmick back. It was
agree.
A fucking great dude. Like you said, the crowd was in the palm of their hand. It was fucking hot. A little drama. Some dude like working on the neck the whole time. Like solid storytelling. Like wrestling. Like just like you said. Very sound storytelling, wrestling, in-ring work, false finishes, everything about this. The glorious DDT, such a sick move.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the paradigm shift, but it looks cooler.
It's like the execution.
It is kind of like the executioner, but Bobby Roode, I've always been a fan of Bobby Roode. I will say I like him more than Edge and Jon Moxley, putting that out there. It was great, too. The sharpshooter with the Canadian thing, it was great. Gave you some good feels. Man. Great match. I gave it 4 beers. I didn't quite go 6-packer, but I mean, great fucking opener. I mean, just like Corey Graves said, he said Bobby Roode should be the Prime Minister of Canada. I mean,
I loved this.
Dude, these takeover, like the way the crowd was in this match, the way the crowd felt in the open, like it's kind of how AEW crowds feel to me. It has that same that energy.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. It started with NXT. And I honestly do believe AEW would not be as successful as they are had NXT not happened.
No, I mean, honestly believe that. It's clear, but hey, hell yeah, we love Triple H's NXT. Too bad it's still not the same.
I agree, man. Hopefully, I know Mr. Meltzer has actually kind of put the seed out that Triple H is really, really pissed off about what has been happening and is not happy with his position in the company. And that could be crazy. Could you imagine Triple H? Could you imagine Triple H married to Stephanie McMahon, like going to another company or starting another promotion even?
Dude, what if he went to like a smaller company, like just NWA with like
what if he just bought? What if he bought Ring of Honor?
Dude, I could see him elevating something like NWA, Ring of Honor, something that has prestige already.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Like, and he knows what. NWA, that has a lot. I mean, Ring of Honor, both of those companies, a lot of prestige. Triple H could definitely do some of that. Let's don't get too off track and get into the next match.
Yeah. It's the Authors of Pain versus TM61. It's the Dusty Classics finals. Before we got to the match, though, there was actually a plug like promoting the WWE Network, and I just wanted to say RIP. It made me so sad seeing
That's how I felt, too. I was like, man, that ain't even around no more.
Yeah. I actually totally forgot about Ellering being in a Shark Tank in this match too. I didn't remember it. To be honest, man,
sell a toy.
Yeah, neither of these teams really clicked with me. I mean, Authors of Pain are just big power guys doing big power moves, and I mean they were, kind of washed up MMA guys or guys that just didn't make it really in MMA, and so that's why I mean they got released. I don't think they're even wrestling anymore. I think they're just, doing whatever. And then TM61 are more modern style wrestlers. But I just don't think they actually clicked as a team. It felt like it really just felt like two singles wrestlers to me. They never really gave me a good tag team vibe. I don't know why. Match was decent, but I mean, it was really short. I gave it 2.25 beers. Like,
oh, I was.
Where I'm at.
Ooh, I was very close. I gave it 2.5.
2.5. Okay.
And dude,
well, that's only a couple sips of beer. I mean, that's a quarter of beer, you know.
And one thing we're gonna disagree on is AOP. TM61 or the Mighty Don't Kneel or whatever the fuck. Like,
yeah.
I've seen better singles matches and just better matches from them and other companies, and then even other matches besides this. I just don't think that these two styles meshed well together. Yeah. But AOP, like when they had their run and paired with Paul Ellering and everything, that was a fucking sick unit, sick team. They had a good finisher. Like, of course, they're not like mat technicians, but like it worked for what they did with him with the manager. And guess what happened once they went to the main roster? They took Paul Ellering away, and then that's what like WWE main roster what's the point of having developmental if what you had in developmental is just going to be fucking completely taken away when you go to the main roster?
No, I totally agree.
Doesn't make any fucking sense to me. I think AOP could have been a lot better. And Slapjack was in this match from Retribution.
Oh, yeah, and Slapjack.
And the dumbest thing, climbs to the top of the crash cage to jump off of it where it was so set up, takes such a long time. Just like we were talking about the TNA pay-per-view in the last one.
Yeah.
Like, I hate those long setups for, like, a move or a thing. Like,
yeah, and it's like this match is pretty short. So it's like you didn't even give us enough time for us to want to get to that level of bump.
Dude.
So it's
exactly. You're supposed to suspend our disbelief and be like, oh, right. But like, dude, like the way this whole thing set up, it was all to sell a fucking toy. They called it the crash cage, even though it was called a shark cage. William Regal said, we're going to put you in a shark cage. And they showed old footage. It was called a shark cage, but the WWE toy was the crash cage.
Yeah.
So that's why they had to go the crash cage. Like they had to keep hammering it on commentary because you know how they fucking do that bullshit. Even though it's NXT, they were still sliding that fucking product placement right on in there. Anticlimactic as hell. 2.5 beers. Let's go on to the next match. A real tag team match.
Well, yeah, let's keep it rolling. Before we get to the match, we did get an ad for like the original version of 205 Live that it was going to be debuting, and that made me sad too because I remember being super hyped for that show.
Dude,
do you remember the Cruiserweight Classic? Because I feel like at some point we need to cover that. Like,
yeah. And speaking of making me sad, actually, when they showed the lead up to the tag, the AOP versus TM61 match, it showed all the teams that were in the Dusty Classic.
Yeah.
Man, like Rich Swann and Kota Ibushi and like all these good, amazing wrestlers who
NXT
were just there
was amazing in 2016, man. It was only 5 years ago. It was amazing. It's crazy.
Dude, NXT, like for the longest, this is the period where I didn't even watch SmackDown or Raw really. I just fucked with NXT.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, and that's the thing too. It's like, what? Listen, even if it's only like, well, it's not really like drawing huge ratings. It's like, yeah, but people are selling out arenas to see it. Like why not keep Raw and SmackDown for your casuals? Fine. That's fine. Just keep it for your casuals, but at least have a brand for us. You're going to make more money that way. Would you not?
That's what AEW has become. It's like the hardcore wrestling national brand.
I mean, AEW feels like 2016, 2015, 2014, 2016 NXT. That's what it feels like. Like,
I don't want to jump the gun, but dude, what if Triple H somehow was a part of AEW
and had one last match?
Oh my God, Kenny Omega versus Triple H. Triple H buries him with the sledgehammer.
Oh, dude, if I'm Tony Khan, I'm 100% putting Triple H over. 100% putting him over.
That would be great.
100% putting him over. Like zero questions.
Elite with a fucking sledge.
Yes.
And then Cody joins up with him in a faction.
Yes.
That would be fucking sick, dude. Yes.
Oh man, I love it. Let's get into the next match here, though. It's DIY versus the Revival. NXT Tag Team Championships are on the line, and it's the best 2 out of 3 falls, dude. Okay, listen, man. How good was this match? Like, how good was this match? Wex, you know what? Give it to me first. What was your rating on this?
Dude, I'm gonna tell you before I get in the ring. I'm just gonna tell you why it was good, dude. Everything, like the first fall was just so quick and sudden. Like I'd seen this in forever, and it was just like, oh shit! Like he was going for the slingshot DDT, and they hit the fucking now known as the Big Rig. Rest in peace, Brody Lee. And dude, everything was so good about this match. The chemistry, the drama, like, just so like I can't even put into words. Like so many good double teams, near falls, like the when the Revival set up to do the double team move and they countered it and like just so much, dude. It's a fucking perfect tag team match. 6 beers.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and just excuse me. We'll just go ahead and say this, dude. 6 beers. It's no like the Revival, FTR, whatever you want to call them. They are one of the best tag teams, and fuck, I hope that the boys in DIY don't just suffer in the depths of NXT or become jobbers on Main Event with Ricochet. I hope they can get somewhere good at some point, because god damn it, this is.
I mean, dude, when Ricochet's contract comes up, you know that he's going to tear it up, dude. I mean, Ricochet and Omega alone is just going to be insane. Ricochet and Jungle Boy, that's going to be so good. Like, and it's going to happen. There's zero doubt in my mind that once Ricochet gets released or once his contract is up, he's going.
Ricochet versus Dante Martin?
Yeah. Ricochet versus Leo Rush.
That could be like the Ricochet versus Ospreay. Dude, and speaking of, Rush had his debut match on Dynamite last night, and he fucking killed it.
Of course he did. Of course he did.
He's so good. He hasn't lost a fucking step.
Yeah, man. If he could keep his head screwed on straight, he is a massive star. I mean, I'm
Tony Khan said he's been getting some good coaching from their newest coach, Sanjay Dutt.
I love that. And I love that. I love hearing that, man. I love hearing that. I mean, listen, okay, I liked this tag match a lot. I loved the Hitman inspired gear from the Revival. Even Scott kind of like doing the hand thing a couple times, like on the apron, like pop me. And I love this match, man. It's an absolutely great tag team match. Great tag work from both sides, like really isolating Gargano and really getting like the emotion. And Gargano just sold like a madman. Ciampa did great with the hot tag. And the Revival really is just a phenomenal team, man. I mean, banger of a match, but there were a couple awkward spots that to me kept it from being a 6er, but very close, very close. I give it 5 1/4 beers. Really close. I mean, almost a damn near perfect tag team match.
Dude, tag team wrestling is its own fucking separate art form than regular fucking singles match. And like,
I agree.
They are masters in tag team wrestling. FTR. Dude.
And honestly, Ciampa and Gargano were a phenomenal tag team.
And dude, and this is where Gargano is the best at, being that desperate babyface.
Yes, he's so good, dude. He's so good at it. Like his selling is just so good. But yeah, those guys I don't think are staying that much longer in NXT. Honestly, I don't know if Ciampa's got much left in the tank, period. I think he's kind of more like a Samoa Joe way. Like I think by the time he's done in NXT, I don't think he's really going to really work anywhere else. Now Gargano might. But I think Gargano might be a come work for another year or two and be kind of done with it too. But
I mean, he has a baby on the way, so you never know things that happen.
You never know.
Hey, I could see him and Candice LeRae going to AEW and their contracts are up. The Young Bucks, they're real good friends with Candice LeRae. It could happen.
Yeah, it's very possible. It's very possible. I mean, you always think that somebody's out or they're on their way down and then they surprise you, and here we are talking about Mickie James versus Asuka, NXT Women's Championship. I was never really the biggest fan of Asuka, but this is easily the best version of her.
I love Asuka.
Yeah, I mean,
this is the run that made me like super fan of Asuka.
Yeah, I mean, and Mickie looked incredible too. I mean, like she hadn't missed a step at all. Great work rate, great back and forth, some awesome false finishes. It wasn't too long, and honestly, I felt like it could have used a couple more minutes, and it would have gotten an even higher rating to me. But I thought it was solid. I gave it 4.5 beers. I probably would have given this maybe even 5.5 beers. It had actually gotten a little more time. But yeah, man, 4.5 beers. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Where are you at on Mickie James versus Asuka?
I'm literally right there with you at 4.5 beers, dude. They had really good chemistry. I don't know how much they even talked or knew each other before this match, but it seemed like they didn't really know each other that well because it was kind of Mickie James coming in and Asuka's been the champion. But, dude, they worked so well together. Like, all the reversals and counters, like, just so smooth and fluid. Like, with people, like, you see certain people wrestle matches and just, the weight, like, it's just so smooth and fluid. They have that chemistry versus other people. It's a little clunky. They look great here. It was a weird little half crab that she did. That was the only thing that annoyed me. It just, like, didn't look right. But then she went to that Moodle lock, and I was like, all right, cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
You transition right to the Moodle lock. It's all right. And I love the ending sequence. Just the struggling, not trying to get into the chicken wing, and she's doing everything she can, flipping over, trying to get the pin. And then she eventually, like, locks it and, like, perfect fucking sequence. I love the ending of this match.
Very believable.
Great.
Yeah.
Dude, Asuka's fantastic. I think she's great. I don't know what WWE. I think she's injured right now, and WWE hasn't been doing much. But man, NXT they also blew it with Asuka too. The fucking sick undefeated streak to lose to goddamn Charlotte Flair. But let's move on.
It is what it is. Let's keep it going. We got an ad for Oldberg and Lesnar at that Survivor Series, which was gross. But then we got to see Pat Patterson on TV. And it was kind of cool and also kind of sad to see. It's only 5 years ago, and he looked very much alive and happy. And I don't know. It's always weird. But then we got a package for Samoa Joe and Shinsuke Nakamura. Oh, man. The entrances were dope. They started throwing bombs at each other right off the bat. It's easily the stiffest match on the show.
Oh, God.
I mean, just some strong style shit, dude. The brawling out in the crowd has never really been my thing, but it wasn't too long. It was short-lived, and I thought it was great. I thought it was a great back and forth. It actually added to the match a little bit. Great match. There were a couple of stutter steps in there, but nothing major. Some really great false finishes and near falls. Awesome finish, too. I actually forgot that Joe won this one, and it shook me a little bit, which was, man, what a great show, dude. I think, honestly, this isn't probably one of the top 5 shows as far as my beer ratings that we've ever covered on the show, period. I mean, I think that this is either my top. I mean, I think All Out, AEW All Out was number 1. And I think this might be number 3 or 4 or somewhere down in there. But this is like hidden gem NXT. Like, so this week on TikTok, I'm not going to do just a match of the week. This is show of the week. Go watch this show. If you have the time, just turn it on and watch it bits and pieces. Pretty much everything on here. You can skip the Dusty Classic, and that's it. That's the only one you can skip. Everything else is a banger. I absolutely loved it, man. I loved it. Where are you at on Shinsuke Nakamura versus Samoa Joe for the NXT strap?
You still haven't said your beer rating.
Yeah, I did. I said 5 1/4.
Oh, 5 1/4. Oh, no, I don't think you did. You just you just talking about how good it was. But
yeah,
5 1/4 beers.
5 1/4.
I mean, you're only a quarter of beer more than me. Just a quarter of a beer more. Yeah. I love this match, dude. It wasn't like your classic. It wasn't your fast-paced modern style, like AEW style wrestling. This was a slobber knocker, beat the fuck out of each other. Like,
yeah, I love it. It's so good.
It was so stiff, so great. Like a different style of match, really, than you saw throughout the whole card. But it worked so well, dude. Just storytelling, working on the knee. Joe, just a madman. And I knew that Joe won because I just remember he won because, honestly, this time in NXT 2016, I was super into this fucking shit. And I remember this show being like, dude, this whole show besides the tag team match was so good.
Yeah.
Like NXT from like 2014 to like 2016, that was it.
I would even argue into 2017, you know.
Into 2017, yes, but like the Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, Nakamura, that era of NXT, dude.
The Sami Zayn, the Kevin Owens.
Exactly. All basically just
really good stuff.
It's such a. We do the kayfabe comparisons for the nostalgia, and this is just hits all the nostalgia feels because it was good, and I see where it led to where we are now in modern wrestling with AEW.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's only 5 years, but still, I mean, 5 years can be forever. I mean, think about from 1997 to 2002. That's a massive 5-year difference. You know what I mean? Like the business from 97 to 2002. That's insane. Like, dude, yeah. I mean, 2016 to 2021. I mean, with independent wrestling, with AEW, and man, like I gotta tell you, I am super hype for the next AEW pay-per-view. I think it's Full Gear, right? That's the name of it?
Yeah, before we get to Full Gear, I came up with a new basically term for one of Samoa Joe's moves, and it's the Jope Suicida.
Oh, I like that. The Jope Suicida.
I wrote that down, and I was like, that's cool, even though, he's not wrestling now. But anybody else named Joe that does a Tope Suicida, you can call it the Jope Suicida. I don't think that means anything else in Spanish, but I don't speak Spanish, so don't quote me on that.
That's that's hilarious. I mean, I think in this kayfabe comparison, it's like, World War III from '96 was good. It was a good show. Yeah. But NXT Takeover Toronto is.
Let's put it this way.
Past 10 years, top 10 show.
Let's put it this way. Even though it's kind of funny to say this, WWE is known for sports entertainment. You know, other people are known for wrestling, but if you want to see a pro wrestling show, go watch NXT Takeover. If you want to see some sports entertainment, go watch World War III.
Yeah, which is funny.
You'll be entertained either way, but dude,
agreed.
NXT, that's where the work rate is. That's where the magic's at. Even though you got Dean Malenko on the other show, NXT's where it's at.
Rey Mysterio and Ultimo Dragon, and
it's like two matches can't save the whole show.
No, absolutely not. No, I totally agree.
But that style of work is the same style of work.
Chris Jericho versus Nick Patrick too, man. That was comedy at its finest. Thoroughly enjoyed it. But comedy man,
has a place in wrestling. I don't care what Jim Cornette says. Comedy needs its place.
I totally agree. And we were really all over Survivor Series 2001 and Genesis 06 last week, and we forgot to do our Rampage predictions. But it all works out. We're in the go home now. Like, you guys are going to be listening to this right before, the day before Full Gear. So we're going to do our Full Gear predictions. So without further ado, Mr. Wex breaking the Lawson, can you run down the card for me, sir?
We'll run down the card. So the first match we're going to make our predictions on. The just announced, actually, yesterday, the tag team match. The unlikely team of Pac and Cody Rhodes going up against Malachi Black and Andrade El Idolo.
Ooh.
That's a toughie, isn't it? That's a toughie.
I'm gonna go heels. I'm gonna say Black and Idolo.
I'm going Pac and Cody.
Okay.
Even though I fucking do not like Cody, I love Pac. But I just think it makes sense where it's going here. It makes sense to me. All right, the next matchup we're going to take a little pick on is the Inner Circle versus the American Top Team.
American Top Team.
All right. I'm going to go Inner Circle.
Okay.
I'm going Inner Circle.
I like this because I feel like a lot of times there's only like one that we don't agree on.
And Dan Lambert is actually in this match as a participant, as a wrestler.
I'm so hyped. I'm so hyped for this, dude.
Me too with that burp. That got me real hyped.
I love Dan Lambert. I love him.
All right, Daniel, what do you think? Darby Allin versus Maxwell, Jacob Friedman.
MJF.
That's my pick too. I'm also going MJF. Darby's had a lot of wins lately. I don't think it's going to really hurt him to lose an MJF.
He's the next guy. He's the next in line.
He's next up.
Yeah.
All right, so next up, the Lucha Bros versus FTR for the AEW World Tag Team Championship.
I think it's too soon for Luchas to lose it, so I think that they're going to win, even though I would prefer to see FTR take it back. I'm going to say Lucha Bros.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you on that one. Lucha Bros makes the most sense logically for what's going on here. All right, the next matchup, Daniel. The Super Click, the Young Bucks and Adam Cole versus the Jurassic Express and Christian Cage.
Super Click, no debate.
I'm going Jurassic Express and Christian Cage.
Okay, I love it. I love it.
Okay, all right. The first of our world, I guess it'll be the second of our world title matches because the AEW Tag Team Championships are still World Tag Team Championships. But for the Women's World Championship, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD versus Tay Conti of the Dark Order affiliation.
It's got to be Mrs. Britsburg herself.
Exactly. It's DMD. It's too early. It's too early in a run.
Tay Conti's not ready for that spot.
Yeah, Tay Conti's not taking the fucking strap off of her. No. It's gonna be somebody else. Possibly maybe one of these new signings that could be coming in.
I think that the match that she had with Abaddon is like that one opened up a lot of eyes, and I think that they might actually do more with that specifically.
And honestly, the next champion for AEW is gonna be Thunder Rosa. Let's don't get it twisted.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like when you're really highlighted in GCW, like they use you, but not as much.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. I just think Thunder Rosa is the next in line, but it could be Jade Cargill. But no, she's probably gonna win that TBS title.
Yeah, she's gonna win the TBS one for sure.
But next up, very highly anticipated match after only really 2 weeks of build-up and one of the goddamn best promos I've ever seen between two people. Eddie Kingston versus CM Punk.
I mean, I think Eddie Kingston is arguably the best promo in AEW right now. I mean, and it's including CM Punk. I think he's one of the absolute best with a microphone in his hand. I don't think he's really great bell to bell in the ring anymore. Maybe he's just working through injuries. I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't have the gas tank anymore. I'm not saying he's not. He's a phenomenal professional wrestler because of his mouth at this point. But it's still got to be Punk, man. It's way too soon for Punk to get a loss. I mean, they're treating him like a god. There's no way he's taking an L here. No way. It's got to be Punk.
I'm going to have to disagree with you there. I think
no way.
Eddie Kingston's going to get the fucking victory.
0% chance.
But I don't
0%.
think this is the end of their feud. I think Kingston gets the win, and they're going to have at least 1 to 2 more matches.
I think you're right, but I think it's Punk. Punk wins the first one.
I don't know. My brain says CM Punk, of course, but my heart here says Eddie Kingston. And I don't know, just like the thing they post on the Players Tribune, I just can see him having that feel good, beat CM Punk moment, but then it just, I don't know. I'm going Eddie Kingston. And
right.
if he breaks out them fucking Puerto Rican pleather pants, CM Punk's in for some shit. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, well, we'll see. We'll see about that. What else we got on the card, man?
All right, next up, the AEW World Title Eliminator Tournament Final.
Okay.
God's favorite former champion, Miro, versus the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson.
I actually think Miro is going to give Bryan Danielson the boot. I think he's going to get the win.
Me too. I've been thinking that ever since they put Miro in the match. I'm like, it just makes sense.
I think, okay, so, I honestly think that this match, the outcome of this match, because it will be before the main event, will determine who will win the main event, in my opinion.
I don't think so.
I 100%
I think the main event is already predetermined no matter what, and I think that what my choice for the main event we'll get to in a second, I think the heel winning makes more sense.
I don't think so, but yeah, I see where you're at.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get into it. The main goddamn event, the AEW World Champion. AEW World Champion, Kenneth Omega versus Hangman. Get it, it's right here. Kenny Omega versus Hangman Adam Page, former tag team partners, now finally going against each other for the AEW World Championship. And it's been a long goddamn storyline. I'm going Hangman Adam Page. It's obvious, but I have a feeling you're going to go different. What do you got here, bud? What you got?
I am actually going Hangman Adam Page. I think they're going to make him the champ. I think they're going to do something between that's why I also think the Super Clique's going to win their match, because I think the Super Clique and the Elite are going to end up having a thing. I think we're going to end up with Omega and Adam Cole for a little bit. And I think that Miro is a great heel for Adam Page to solidify his world title. And then I think MJF is the person that will eventually take the title from Hangman Adam Page. That's how it's booked in my head.
Interesting that you say that, because I think that we're going to get an Adam Cole and Kenny Omega thing too. I've been thinking that the whole time, and especially if you watch Dynamite, Adam Cole introduced one of his friends to the Young Bucks by the name of Bobby Fish. Mm-hmm. And we also got a guy by the name of Kyle O'Reilly whose contract is up in here about a month.
Yep.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I feel like they're just planting the seeds for an Elite versus Undisputed, whatever the fuck they're going to call it. I feel like that's building.
Yeah, I think that would be cool, though.
Yeah, that would be amazing, because that's the great thing about AEW. It doesn't have to be in the title picture for it to be interesting and like get me excited.
But I also think that it might make more. I don't know, man. I feel like the Bucks and Cole are the new. I think that the Bucks are going to split from Omega. I think Omega is probably just going to have maybe Anderson and Gallows. Not sure.
Or what if Cole and O'Reilly join with Omega?
Oh, that'd be great.
Because I think the Gallows and Anderson,
O'Reilly.
they're kind of they're not booked really anymore. Right now. They're not in the creative at the moment, because they said the Forbidden Door is not closing to Impact, but they don't really have anything planned. But imagine that if like that would just be goddamn
so
it. My chub is chubbing up, baby.
I am
it's chubbing up.
Super excited about it though. I'm super excited about that card. I'm super excited to watch that show. And that is, of course, what we're going to be covering next week on the show. It's AEW Full Gear going up against WWF Survivor Series 1996, because we've been talking a lot about WCW, but not really a whole lot about Survivor Series. And I want to say that Survivor Series 96 is the Savio Vega Stone Cold match that is like kind of legendary. I want to say that's on this show. Maybe I'm wrong.
You're right. And that's kind of cool to look. We're going to kind of get to see both sides of the Monday Night Wars and what they're doing in there.
Yeah.
That's cool. We're going to get to take a little insight.
Yes. I'm very, very excited about that, actually, man. We got a lot of really cool stuff coming up. We got a lot of really cool stuff coming up. We're doing the following week is like the Thanksgiving show. What did you want to do for Thanksgiving for that special show?
What was it? The Thanksgiving? Oh yeah. Did you? I don't know if we were going to be doing kind of like a end of the year. It's like a year end, or do you want to save that for the very end of the year?
I think we'll probably save that one for the end of the year. Maybe we could do like a top 10 though.
So yeah, this will be So like this Thanksgiving special will kind of be like it'll be like a little top 10 thing, and we might be talking like. We don't know exactly what it's going to be planned for, but it's going to be a fun mystery wrestling top 10. And then it's going to be something that the fans can get involved with. We can get engaged, talk about your opinions, your top 10, some fun stuff, some good wrestling things. Just switch it up a little bit, you know? I like to get involved and hear what other people say, because that's one of the best parts about the wrestling podcast, hearing other people's opinions, even though if your opinion's dog shit, just kidding. But, you know, it's fun to hear it. Fun to hear
I think actually what would be cool is if we could go back through because we're going to do a year in review, right? So I think we should kind of go back and like maybe even look at, like our show, like of this past year. What was your favorite, like our top 10 shows that you got, let's put that on Twitter, see what people say there.
So there we go. We're going to also that. It's me that our top 10 shows of the year, because we do way more than 10. So we'll try to figure out what we think was our favorite top 10s, and
I'll go back and check them out. Yeah, for sure.
And we'll have some fun input and stuff, and get some fun stuff in there. Maybe a special guest here too. We'll try to figure something cool, make it fun.
Yeah, that would be fun for sure. I would be very into that. I'm super excited about it. The following week, we're doing This Tuesday in Texas, which I think was from like 1991, wasn't it?
1991. That's exactly it.
And then we're doing versus December to Dismember.
So those are two pay-per-views that only ever happen one time a piece.
Yeah.
And one for good reasons, and one just because it was on a weird fucking night. And yeah, we're going to get to go back and see some weird, obscure shit if you're into that.
It's weird and obscure. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a new kind of vibe to dive into, but also kind of keep our kayfabe format, which will be pretty interesting, I think. The following week is going to be Vengeance 01, that classic Vengeance 01, versus NXT War Games. Man, you know what? I'm just going to give you the rest of what we got going, because it's like really good. So we have another current pay-per-view with that War Games show, and then the following show after that is going to be Ring of Honor's Final Battle. They're pretty much their final pay-per-view, and that's going to be going up against Armageddon 06. Lots of really cool stuff in 06. I want to say that this is a big Shawn Michaels, Triple H, like 3 Stages of Hell match or something. Is it this show? Maybe that was 05. I'm not 100% sure, but I know it's a big one. And
it's got some good shit on there, because we chose it for a reason. It's blanking at the moment, but it was chosen for a damn good reason.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Also, we have, we're going to continue our walk down the memory lane of WCW, and try to keep it on brand on the show, because now I feel like our listeners are invested in 1996 WCW just like we are. And it's going to be Starrcade 96 going up against TLC 2011. 2011 was a shitty year, to be honest. So to be completely honest, this show might change. But I am stoked to cover 96. I promise that will be there. We might just change out that other show with something else. And then the last show of the year is going to be like an end of the year recaps, almost do like awards or like superlatives, like most improved or, botch of the year or, dumbest moment of the year or whatever. But it's going to be pretty much a whole year recap. And hopefully we'll have something formatted for season 4. That's right. Season 4 is going to be next year. New music, maybe some new graphics, maybe a new overhaul of the show. Me and Wex breaking the Lawson kind of getting more into the social medias, trying to push this show to be as best as it possibly can be. So I'm excited for season 4, Wex. We got a lot coming up, dude. We're going to finish season 3 off strong. Season 4 next year. We got so much on the horizon, bro. How you feeling about it?
Oh, I am feeling great about it. It's been really fun doing the podcast for the past year, however long I've been doing it. It's been doing it for a while now, and it's been fun. And yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to season 4, like the Horsemen. We're going to get into some interesting topics. Maybe we'll slide on into some more WCW 97 and kind of follow into the next year because shit, I'm loving covering old WCW. It's fantastic.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a good time. I'm super hype about it. But yeah, that's going to do it for us this week. You can always find the show at KayfabeCom on all the socials except for the TikTok. You can find us at KayfabeCom Pod. We're trying to stay active there, man. We're busy. We got real lives too. Wex is taking over on the Twitter at KayfabeCom. If you want to find me, you can find me at Daniel Daybreak everywhere. I'm just at Daniel Daybreak. Wex, give them the script, baby. Where can they find you?
You can find your boy Wex at Wex breakin the Lawson on pretty much all forms of social media. And you should go ahead and check us out on the YouTube, the Kayfabe Comparisons YouTube channel. Right. We'll be cranking out more videos, more little snippets here and there, some special stuff. Maybe some weird shit. You're going to be like, what the hell is this? Oh, this is cool. And you're going to be like, all right, cool. I'll subscribe.
I'm into it. I actually want to start pushing the YouTube a little more as well. I'd like to do a little bit more video stuff. I mean, audio we're never going to get rid of. We absolutely love the podcast. That's how it all started. But I'd definitely like to do as much more video content as we possibly can. I enjoy the TikToks for sure. YouTube is another avenue. And we're so grateful for all the growth, man. We're steady. We're staying steadier, steady climbing. Really appreciate the newbies.
Our
Thanks
podcast
so much for being around.
On Twitter, Chris Van Vliet just started following us, so I think that's
my God, nice! Shout out to Chris.
He's verified. He's got the blue check. So
big fan. Love that, man. Dude, awesome. Well, you know what? We're happy to have you guys on this journey. We're hyped for the finishing out this year. Hyped for the end of season 3. Hyped for season 4 next year. That's gonna do it for us this week. We will see you guys next week. We are out. Peace.
Peace.